Hi everyone, and welcome to Fan Commentary. Now, everyone knows that I'm not really a fan of Wild Force. I don't really particularly like it for various reasons, which I'll go throughout the series whenever I cover other episodes. But I have to admit that there are good episodes in Wild Force, and I do like Curse of the Wolf. In a lot of cases, I don't particularly like when PR directly adapts the Super Sentai episode because it can be lazy. It's just like they could have done something more rather than copying a story directly. It may not work for an American audience, or they have to do a lot of compromises. But in Curse of the Wolf, the Loki Zenaku story, it's an excellent use of, using the Sentai. It has a very basic story, it's a good story, and the way they used it in Wild Force was the right way. Now, the one thing I never really liked about this, I like the Master Org arc, the story, the character. It's just that certain things never really made sense because the orgs didn't like him because he was human, but I never saw it as that. To me, the moment he took the seeds, he became Master Org, and you could clearly see here he's trying to figure out what to do. Yes, he's still remembering what he's done in the past, and he still has resentment toward Cole's parents because he was in love with the mother, and this is his drive. But to me, he's still really Master Org at this point. He doesn't care about being human. He wants to get revenge, and he has the power of Master Org. He has memories. He recalls the Nazer, and he wants to awaken him. I also love how he blatantly kills these guys and no one really cares. There are spirits in there, but I guess monsters, they don't have problems with censorship. It just shows how, like, evil he is. It's like, yeah, you're just small fry here, die, I don't care, you're in my way. Just because Master Org was originally a human, so I never understood why later on they despised him. It's still a little also inconsistent because Nazer accepts him, other monsters accept him. It's just like, doesn't anyone have like a memory of the past? Or it's just like, I could still feel Master Org's presence. I also love this story because it sees Master Org use a really good plan because I have to get Nazer to wake up Zenaku and he's sealed away far away and they have to do all this stuff. I have to send Jindrax and Toxica out with another monster to keep the Rangers distracted in the morning. This is also a rarity for PR where, for like 3 or 4 minutes, we literally do nothing. It's just, late at night, everyone's just tired from a previous battle. They're actually referencing the Soul Bird in the other episode. It's these little bits that where you enjoy the characters. Although I always wondered what set off that fire. Although I wish Max had, gotten a little bit more. I think that's one of the reasons why I never really cared for the Wild Force cast because they didn't go past like what they were initially set up as. Max is a kid. Max has to rely on other people. Max does mistakes. It's really all they focus on until nearly the end of the series where everyone finally passed their points. It just took so long where it's just like I got tired of it. And it's just like these characters can do more stuff. I'm surprised the actors are actually near that fire. One, it's a real noise problem for the studio. So if you pay attention, you can kind of hear a fan blowing in the background because they didn't want to dub over all of this. But then other times they have to redub over it and resync their lines. So I'm really surprised. And plus, they're really close to it. It kind of like, is this safe? Obviously, it is because they allowed it. But they're just doing things just like I wouldn't do it this close to the fire. Especially here when Max picks up the blanket and throw it on Danny. It's just like, you're really close to that fire. Everyone totally forgot about Princess Shayla, looking up at the sky. It boggles me, though, that nearly all the main characters lost their memory. Jindrax doesn't remember anything. Toxica doesn't remember anything. Cole, of course, doesn't. And everyone else is new. And also Princess Shayla's memory is missing. It's just like, how did all these characters lose their memories in this manner? It's just like way too convenient. The only character that didn't was Master Orc. He gained memories from the original one. Obviously, she still has feelings, and the moon tries to make her remember like what's going on. And I assume she's been doing this, since she's been woken up. It's probably what she does all day because Princess Shayla really has nothing else to do. She just protects the island. She helps the Rangers when they have to get a call. And really, that's it. So she probably has a lot of time to herself to do these things. That was probably also the longest time where there was no music playing throughout the scene. It's very rare for PR to have no music. I want to know how Cole grabbed all that and threw it inside a sandwich that quick. And he just did that to be a jerk to her. This follows pretty much the original Gal Ranger episode. What I always found confusing is how, like, censorship in general, because, why is it bad to hear the word death, die, murder, kill? But other times, like we see the monsters get blown up by Master Org, but also later on when we see Zenaku's coffin, even Toxica says coffin. All the visual representations of death are okay on screen, but why are the words not? This is where inconsistency and censorship just doesn't make any sense. This is kind of confusing, though. Obviously, there was a plan to keep the Rangers distracted, but this guy was already doing something before, and he didn't know that there were other Duke orgs around there, and they were just, they just came here now. So it's weird. It's just like, then shouldn't, like, various other orgs around the city be terrorizing the town at the same time, since they'd be randomly being born? And now we jump into Japanese footage. I always wonder what decides them to cut out Japanese footage or use it. Also, there's an inconsistency with that because Like, when does Taylor have those, those feathers to do the attacks? That comes out of nowhere. But in Gow Ranger, Yellow always used those abilities. I always wondered who, like, entombed him like that. I get it. They entombed him because he was going out of control and they wanted to use him, later. But, like, who put the coffin in the wall and then buried him on the rocks and had him marked? It seems like so much effort to cover him up and then to unseal him when they just could have just left him there buried in the coffin. This is actually the same area where they filmed Jew Ranger. A lot of areas get reused throughout the years. The Soul Drive is actually pretty cool looking, but we never get to see the control panel from this angle. That's what I really hate about its design. All the busy stuff is on the opposite side, which we never could see. The infamous Ellison Zord that never got released in America for whatever reason. I do appreciate Wild Force effects work because, it was the first show to extensively use CGI, and it still holds up really well today. I always wondered why the pawn couldn't detect Zenaku for all these years. I mean, he is still technically asleep, but why does he pick it up now? And then why hasn't the pawn picked up Nazer? So it's like, can general orgs cover up their signature so that the pawn can't see it? So, but it brings up a lot of technical issues with the show and plot holes. It's just like, why does the pawn pick everything up now rather than before? Oh, her immersion line, I remember it so vividly because I remember when all the commercials for this episode were premiering and constantly they kept using that word. Now, this is a little bit of a mistake. In Wild Force, they have these Savage Cycles. And, like, why does this running thing happen? Is because they're using Gower Ranger footage. In Gower Ranger, they don't have the bikes. So the Rangers have to run at high speed. And this is why it takes them so long. And because it would have been quicker if they had the Savage Cycles. Although, it would have been quicker if they didn't give up teleporting, which, answers and saves a lot of things. I always wonder why it takes a mirror to wake up Zenaku. Wouldn't it just be easy enough to just pull out the coffin, wait for the full moon to hit those parts in order to open up Zenaku? But it needs the mirror to reflect on it. Seems overly complicated. If you pay attention closely, you can see that's a Japanese actor. Nothing actually lines up with her dialogue. I will say though that this scene plays out a little bit better in Gal Ranger. It feels more um, eerie, more harder to stomach because it doesn't have music playing over it as much. It's mainly focusing on the sound effects, and that's the reason why they're scared. It doesn't play that well in Wild Force. Although I do hate it that Zenaku knocks everyone out of their ranger powers pretty easily. I mean, it's supposed to show off his strength and how how awesome he is and how like they're nothing to them. It just, especially Taylor, she was knocked out really quick, and having Cole and Alyssa there, it just feels like random. It's like, shouldn't Taylor be the one with Cole and Alyssa should be technically knocked out? Oh yeah, Zanako's voice changes throughout the series. Sometimes it's like in the first episode here, it's more of the voice actor's normal voice. Later on, they have it a little bit more deeper. Then there's one episode where they completely mess that up, and it's super deep. And I think also one other time they had a different voice actor play him for a little bit. I always hated this because it always felt convenient that the elephant's crystal flew out of her pocket rather than like the tiger. I wish both came out and then like Alyssa grabbed the tiger but couldn't grab the elephant sword, which is why it turned to stone, which is kind of cool. And it kind of gives you a clue here because like we never seen an org have this ability to, I don't know, freeze the crystals in order to take the Zord. Oh no, although the whole revenge aspect of Zenaku doesn't really make so much sense because we know he's a cursed mask, and then when Merrick, took it and transformed into Zenaku, and then he got sealed away because he was evil. I mean, it was just one day. Shouldn't you really have revenge from the original person that either was he created by it from originally just a mask, or was he another being in a past life that got converted into the mask? So shouldn't your revenge really be who originally did it to you or who entrapped you inside the mask? But Zenaku is a really cool character, which I hated that they kind of dropped. I mean, he does get reprised at the end of the series, but once he was freed, like Merrick, he didn't do anything with Merrick. That's the thing that I kind of annoyed me with him. Yeah, I never liked this because Alyssa's always asking for Elephant Zord, Elephant Zord. I'm like, you should be calling out Zenaku, Zenaku, not Elephant Zord. He has the crystal. I also miss the days when the series would do like cool texts for all the credits and stuff. They rarely ever do that now. It's pretty much just your generic white on black, and that's it. While Wild Force had this nice, really cool animal themed text, and the same goes for Mystic Force. I wish all the seasons had like unique text to themselves.